Good. How are you? Bye. Oh, it's great to see everybody. We're excited to be in week 2 of our training camp here at Missouri Western. I want to say thank you to the staff at Missouri Western. Dr. Kennedy and her entire staff do such a great job of hosting us every year. We love being up here in St. Joe and appreciate the community and the opportunity that we have to come together and lay the foundation for the upcoming season. Certainly with the season not finishing like we wanted it to last year, I sense a urgency on behalf of everybody associated with the team on getting here, getting on the field, and getting prepared for the upcoming season. That'll open it up.
This first, since Trent was just here, we're asking about contract stuff. You guys have done a lot of big deals this offseason. Is Trent McGuffey a priority to get an extension done? Is it something you guys would like to do before the season or afterward?
Yeah, well, we were excited to get the guys done that we did this offseason, and I think one of the themes you saw was rewarding players that we had drafted. I'm a big believer that you build football teams through the draft, and we're lucky that Brett and his team have done such a great job, and we have so many players who have played at a high level and that we would like to keep long term. I don't want to speak specifically about any one player, but it is a priority for us to keep the nucleus of the team together.
How close do you feel like that you are as far as making a decision on a future stadium, and what do you are the obstacles that right now are in the way towards making that final decision?
Yeah, I know Mark Donovan spoke to you all a week ago and shared that we've made a lot of progress, and that's absolutely true, and that progress is on both sides of the state line. We're grateful to have 2 really good options. I don't want to get into how close we are to making a decision, because I found over time with stadium situations that until they're done, they're not done. There's a lot of work, a lot of moving parts, and we're working through those. Certainly, I would say we feel an urgency to bringing the process to a conclusion, but that doesn't mean I can will it to happen in any specified period of time.
When you say there's 2 great options, is that simply Missouri and Kansas, or is that a new stadium in Kansas versus staying at Arrowhead, Missouri?
Well, I think if we were to move to Kansas, it would obviously involve a new stadium, and our priority on the Missouri side has been a renovation of GHA Field at Arrowhead. So those are the 2 primary options.
When people look from the outside on that, I mean, obviously the 2 projects would cost a different amount of money. The states have both done different things. There's still an obstacle in the county. On the Missouri side, you maybe have to get a vote for it. Generally speaking, it seems like it would probably be more money out of the Hunt family's pockets to move to Kansas, but an easier path without having to get a vote, and a little less money to renovate. Is that about right? And are those the factors that are going to help you make a decision? Like, how big a factor is getting that vote done, and how much money is going to cost you guys?
Yeah, the 2 projects obviously cost different amounts. That's absolutely true. And from a family standpoint, we're not really focused on our financial commitment. We're more focused on getting it right, picking the option that's best for our fans and one that's best for the community and best for the organization for the next several decades.
Clark, this is probably leading up to the most momentous decision you guys have made since your dad brought the team here. Are you able to describe how the family dynamics will work when the 4 of you are set to break it all down and make a decision? I mean, how does that go?
Yeah, Vahe, you're exactly right that it's a very big decision, and it's one I certainly want my family's input on. It's something that'll affect our family for multiple decades and maybe several generations. So having broad input is really important. I'm hopeful that the decision will be clear-cut for us. I don't know that it will be when we get to that point, but certainly having a collaborative process is important.
Hey, Clark, regarding that, Clark, one of the thoughts I know when we first started talking about this, you were talking a lot about the emotion and sentimentality. How have you balance that going forward? Has that evolved at all for you and how you study the situations?
Well, I think anybody who's been coming to Chiefs games for decades understands what a special stadium GHA Field at Arrowhead is. And, it's fun being here at training camp and getting to interact with our fans. And I certainly hear from them in terms of their thoughts. And many of them have grown up, going to games with their dad, their mother, their family, and so it's a very special place for them. So that'll be part of the calculus for sure.
You mentioned some renovations to Arrowhead Stadium. You guys have already started some with the seats being removed and put back in for the World Cup. How ready will the stadium be for the new season?
Yeah, so that process has been going on for a couple of years now. This summer was really the bulk of the work, where we had to take out a number of rows of seats on the north side of the stadium so that we can have the proper width for a World Cup pitch. And we pretty much have that complete, and the stadium will be back in its normal configuration come late August when we host our preseason game here.
Hey, Clark, Rick Colter mentioned that you guys have new beds in your dorms this year. I just wondered how that came about and the reason for that.
We're always looking for ways to improve the amenities for our players. Certainly sleep is really important, particularly at training camp. Something you've probably heard the players talk about over the years is, how challenging it is to sleep in a dorm room. And I'll second that, because when I'm here, I sleep in the dorm room with them. And a number of our veteran players in the past have brought in their own mattresses. And we were able to partner with a local furniture store this year to provide mattresses for all the players and the staff. And having spent a few nights here, I'll say the sleeping's definitely better.
Clark, in getting that new deal with Missouri Western done, obviously it was big because you've been training here at St. Joe for so many years. How important was it to show the fans here locally that we still care, we want to come back, we want to keep doing training camps here, and just have that Chiefs support and support the community has to stay here?
Yeah. Well, this is our 15th year hosting training camp here out of the last 16 years. And the experience has been fantastic for the organization. First of all, starting with the football team. I know you've heard Coach Reed talk about how important he thinks it is in terms of bringing the team together to be up here in this environment. The facilities are outstanding. The folks in the cafeteria do a great job with the food. So it's been an all-around win for the football team. But I also really like it in terms of the opportunity it provides our fan base to attend practices. And it was great to see so many fans out here the last couple of days. Many of them are local. Some have driven up from Kansas City or really across the bi-state region. And having the fans here, I think, helps the players from an intensity level at practice, and then also creates a very special environment where the fans and players are able to interact, like we saw here just a few minutes ago with our players signing autographs. So it's really been great for the organization. We were glad to be able to extend our relationship going forward. We do believe it's been a key part of helping us win a few championships.
And also just rebuilding the team. You guys reached out to the offensive line a little bit in free agency and the draft. You guys are just helping here. How do you guys feel about it? I mean, I know it's still early, just the pads on. But what's the general just kind of feeling between you and just the front office?
Yeah, so following the draft, Brett Veach and his team felt like they had knocked it out of the park again. And we've seen some draft classes here recently where we've been able to bring a number of new starters to the franchise. And I think he feels the same way about this draft class. We've only been out there for a week. A lot of it was without pads, but the early returns are really positive. I think it's going to be a special draft class. Part of that was shoring up the offensive line that you mentioned. I would also say the defensive line as well. Really both sides in the trenches. We think we've added some players that are going to really be able to help us. But they're rookies, and they've got a lot to learn, and there's a learning curve that they'll have to go through.
All right, last two will go Nathan and Todd.
Can't put you on the deadline, but when you say urgency when it comes to the stadium, where do you most feel that? Is that at night? Is that when you look at the calendar? Do you feel like to be right for the fans, you want to tell them something by the end of this season? Where does urgency feel the most to you?
Yeah, the urgency for us really comes from the time frame of our existing lease, which expires in the spring of 2031. So we're coming up on 5.5 years left on the lease. And stadium projects, generally are 4.5 to 5 years from the time you start designing, getting the entitlements, and then building whatever you're building. They're not short-term projects. So it's important for us to be able to make a decision somewhat in the near term to be able to be on schedule to have the renovated or new building open in 31.
A couple little details, listeners, emailers, things like that. You guys renovate Arrowhead, still no plans to develop anything on that. Mark Donovan told us that most of the responses you got from your season ticket holders about what's in the stadium. Is that true that really not interested in developing things around there? And if you do move to Kansas, does your plan have things to do with the development, or is it mostly just a stadium everything?
Yeah, so at Arrowhead, the majority of the work will be inside the stadium. That's the feedback we've received from the fans. In addition to making sure that the tailgating experience is at least what it is today, if not better. And I do think there'll be some opportunities to enhance the tailgating experience if we stay at the Truman Sports Complex. In Kansas, depending on where we end up, there may be a development opportunity around the stadium. We just don't really feel that outside the perimeter of the Truman Sports Complex that's really a ripe area for development.
All right.
Thank you.